Hello everyone, Cherries Red Army, Bournemouth top of the league, flying high, and we go into another match preview video. Midweek this one versus Peterborough, and I'll be joined by Bournemouth fan Matt Davies as we take a look at this fixture in more detail. We'll also try and predict that predictable Scott Parker starting 11. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new, also smash the like and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video. Let's get on with a preview. So in a season full of debuts, we have one on Cherries Red Army. This match preview. Welcome to Matt Davies, Bournemouth fan. How you doing?
Very well, Kirk. Thank you. Very well indeed. Yourself?
Yeah, very, very well. Great to see you last weekend in the 1910. And how's it been for you this season, being back, watching football matches, seeing mates and making new mates?
Yeah, it's exactly that really, Kirk. You just can't beat it, can you? I mean, the last 18 months has been really, really tough. For everybody for so many reasons, and it's just great to be back there, isn't it, amongst it all? And even better, the fact that the team are playing so well, winning football matches, top of the league, and I think this season sets it apart from others somewhat because you've got your channel, which is fantastic. We've got all of the social media side of things. So as you touched on, Kurt, we're meeting so many, or I'm personally meeting so many new people, and it's just brilliant to talk football before the game, after the game. You know, take part in things like this. It just brings a whole community together, doesn't it? And it makes you realise what a family club and what a close knit club AFC Bournemouth are, really.
AFC Bournemouth then, top of the Championship. 6 wins, 3 draws, thirst, 21 points, goal difference +9. Form guide, draw, win, 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 win. And that last fixture was at home against Luton. Let's talk about it then. We had a small chat, didn't we, in the bar, and we were sort of quietly optimistic about this. But let's go right back to the start, Matt. And we're getting used to, well, I'm getting used to slow starts. And the first 10-15 minutes, we could have been at least 1-0 down, if not 2. What do you make of these slow starts?
Yeah, it's exactly that, and there tends to be a pattern forming, doesn't there, in all of these games? I think back to QPR, I think back to even Cardiff, and certainly on Saturday we don't come out of the traps very quickly to start with, and it almost takes the opposition to have a near miss or a couple of near misses in the case of Saturday, where we really should have been at least 1 goal down, to give us that boot up the backside, really, to think, hang on a minute, we've got a game on here, we better start playing. And then we do that. And then, again, going back to patterns forming, the first attack we have, the ball ends up in the back of the net. And we're 1-0 up out of nowhere. So it's great. But I think, like I said, on the free-for-all with Sam after the game on Saturday, we can't carry on like that. I can't go through a season like that where it's just so tense and so tight, and you're just hanging on at the end when you really shouldn't be. And in the back of your mind, you're thinking this game should be put to bed. But going from the start of the game, yeah, it was an interesting start, and that pattern seems to be forming. I'm sure Scott Parker's aware of it. I can't really put my finger on why it's happening, what it is. But I think it's the Championship, isn't it? We're going to come up against this opposition week in, week out. We're there to be shot at now. We're top. So teams are going to think, we're up for this. Bournemouth are top. Let's come out of the traps quickly and let's get about them.
But like you said, we seem to be clinical, especially at home. Our first attack, we score, and then that settles us down. Phil Bill got the first goal in that Luton game, and generally when he scores, we don't lose. That stat still stands from last season. And then Dom Solanke added with his 6th league goal of the season. But 2 of those goals came through assists through Ryan Christie. Now, I've always said that he can tuck inside, and that's where I thought he was going to play on Saturday. But again, he kept the position wide with Pearson keeping his place. But I've said he's different to Brooks. He plays round defenders, in my opinion, unlike Brooks tries to play through people. And on Saturday, he didn't just play around players, he also played over the top, especially that one for Phil Billing. But Ryan Christie, 2 assists.
2 assists, perfect number 10 for me. He's not a winger as such. He's not got an abundance of pace, has he? He's not going to take players on and beat players for fun, get to the byline and put crosses into the box. But what he has got, and we've got a few of these players, haven't we? They can thread a ball through, they can dink a ball through, as we saw for Billion. They can put a beautiful little ball, loft the ball into the box for Solanke to get his head on. We've got a number of those players, and none better than Ryan Christie on Saturday. I thought he was superb, really, for the role he played. And he can play in that front three, but I think his best position is in the 10, just behind that front three, and that creative spark, really.
Second half then played out like similar games at home. One we let slip with the Blackpool 2-2. QPR went right down to the wire, and then we did concede a goal. But you know what? We got the 2-1 victory, and I just want to point out something I didn't point out in my matchday vlog, which you can see on the channel, by the way, is the Mark Travers save. I've seen it again on the highlights. And now we were in the stadium, and I thought at the time, great save. But when you watch the highlights, it's better than a great save.
Oh, it's an unbelievable save. And I was in the North Stand on Saturday, so all the action was down the other end. And at the time, I just thought that was a decent save from Travers, and you'd expect him to save that. When I saw the replay after the game, unbelievable. Because did it come off Cahill?
Yeah.
Come off Cahill. So his reactions there are razor sharp, aren't they? Absolutely superb. And he's been, to be fair, he's been outstanding, Travers. I'll hold my hand up. At the beginning of the season, I was one that was saying he needs to go out on loan. He's not our number one. He's not commanding enough. He needs experience. We need a proper experienced commanding goalkeeper in it. He's proved me wrong at least the last 3 or 4 games, really. I thought he was brilliant again Saturday.
Snap to that as well. He's definitely proven me wrong. You just highlighted something there with the goals that we score at home. We score at least 2 goals every game at home. But I put a tweet out that saying that of the 17 league goals we've scored this season, 13 have been at the Ted Mack stand. But I'm going to throw something else your way now, Matt, that on the road, we've scored 5 goals, but 4 in the second half. Now, that tells you 2 different stories. One at home, where we try and hurt teams early on, but not quite early on. But away from home, we seem to do the work in the second half.
Yeah, obviously every game's different, and home and away is different, particularly in the Championship. And I think Scott Parker will have different tactics and a different setup for home and away games. Referring to Cardiff away, I thought that the first half we were a little bit pedestrian. But when you actually reflect on these games, were we pedestrian, or were we just finding our feet within the game and making sure that we set up properly, making sure that we counteract their threats, because they're the home team. The onus is on them. Talking about the Cardiff games, to come at us, and I thought they did that to start with. But once we sort of grew into the game, I thought we sized them up quite well, and we sort of negated any threat that they posed. And then second half, it's almost like we go in at half time away from him, and he says, right, we've got the measure of this lot now. Go out second half, do your stuff, play your football, create some chances. Let's put the ball in the net and put this game to bed and win the game. Whereas at home, with the onus very much being on us, once we get over that first 5 or 10 minutes where we should be 2-0 down, we grow into the game. We get a goal, probably with our first attack. That's what's been happening, hasn't it? And then from there, we grow in confidence. The momentum grows. The team come alive. The crowd plays a part, of course, home and away. The crowd get behind us. But I just think, going back to the Luton game, we go 2-0 up, and we do and we've done this a few times, we take our foot off the gas a little bit. I'd like to see us really put teams to the sword. We almost think, 2-0, we're almost job done here, aren't we? We'll get to half-time. And half-time comes at the wrong time for us, or it has done the last few games at home, where we've got that momentum, we're flying, we're creating chances, the movement's good, the pass and move, some of the football's fantastic. And half-time, sometimes it kills that, and it gives the opposition a chance to regroup, come out second half, and they come at us. And fair play to Luton, their mentality was good, their work rate was good, they got about us, they changed their shape a little bit, changed their formation, they brought on Cameron Jerome, and they were going more direct just to try and get themselves back in the game, which they obviously did.
But we got the victory, and that's the focus on the Cherries at this point in the match preview. But we need to have a look at our opponents and what can they do. Peterborough United. So Peterborough are 2 wins, 1 draw, 6 losses, 21st, 7 points, goal difference -10. Form guide is loss, loss, win, loss. And in their last fixture, Matt, that was a 3-0 loss to Coventry. What have you made so far of newly promoted Peterborough?
They remind me a little bit of us when we first come up. I think, and I've been doing a little bit of research into them, obviously, the last few days with the upcoming game on Wednesday. There's a fella called Alan, anybody that's on Twitter, Alan Swan, who works for Peterborough Today. He's the sports reporter. So I've been following him quite closely over the last few days. And he's been saying that they're just a little bit naive. Going forward, they're making chances. And to be fair, they've got some great young talent at the club. So they are making chances, but they're missing those chances at key moments. And at the other end, of course, they're shipping goals. They're maybe a little bit too open, a little bit too expansive. But they do tend to mix things up a little bit from what I've been the reports that I've been reading. So they mix things up depending on the opposition that they play. So he would very much like them to go for, this is what I'm reading, 4-2-3-1, which would obviously match with what we do. But they are adaptable and they're very flexible depending on the opposition. So they can play football in tight areas. Their pass and move, their press is very good. But they can also mix up and go long with Clark Harris up front and Dembele. They'll hit them long when they need to. So I think that they've got some talented youngsters. They're lacking in experience clearly at this level. But I think from what I've seen so far, they're obviously a much better side at home than they are away. They're using home advantage very well. And they tend to have had more success against the teams that are more direct. And if you look at their last home game against Birmingham, they took them apart. 3-0, was it? They got a good draw at home to Cardiff. I know Cardiff pegged them back, but they were 2-0 up. And they were very, very unlucky against West Brom, who we know go direct a lot. And their game plan there was perfect. They just had to see that out. It could have gone either way that game. They could have won it. They ended up losing it in the last minute. So they're going to be a threat, and I think they're going to grow into the league. I would put them in the bracket of Coventry last season. I think they might just be okay with it, but they play expansive football. They like to press their fullbacks high, but they can mix it up as well. And I think they'll probably be okay. But at the moment, it's very much a learning curve for them.
But when you look at the stats, they've conceded the most goals in the league, 20 goals. But if you think it's a guaranteed 3 points for the Cherries, even though the form we are in, they've won 2 games this season, all at home. And both wins at home, they've scored in the first minute, Matt. So they have got players in potentially Johnson Clark Harris, who I believe is still playing because they've appealed that disciplinary action that he got for previous historical tweets. And they've got Dembele. But as I said, if they're going to get a result, it's likely to be at home based on what they've done previously.
It will be, and you touched on a very, very good point there, Kirk. I was going to go on to say actually that I think the first goal tomorrow night is absolutely crucial because they're a little bit like us as well. They're probably a similar size football club to us, maybe even a little bit smaller. I mean, what do they get at home? 6,000-7,000 home fans. I think they had 12,000 there against Birmingham, but half the crowd were Birmingham fans. But it's a tight stadium. I know they've redeveloped the stadium a little bit. I haven't been there for years, since the 90s, but it's a proper old school stadium. So they'll use the crowd to get behind them. If they get that first goal, I think it could be a tough evening for us. But we've obviously got better players than them. They'll set up to stop us playing, of course they will. And they'll go long. They'll try and they'll mix their game up accordingly. But we've got the better players. It's all about mentality for me tomorrow night. They'll be up for it. We've got to make sure we match their work rate, and the mentality is right for us. And make sure we get that first goal, obviously.
And remember, we did lose to the likes of Wickham last year, who were pretty much in a similar boat as well. But Scott Parker had his press conference. He said that Junior Stanislas is not far away, probably after the next international break. Lewis Cook is playing behind the scenes in matches. That's good to hear. But me and Matt now are going to try and predict the predictable 11 it seems to be. Or will it be as predictable as we think in this fixture? What I've done here is I brought up the lineup that was on Saturday against Luton. And what we'll do is we'll start from the back and we'll move up and we'll potentially change players. We just reflected on Travers. Good start. I'm sure he's going to stay. Happy to keep Travers in? Yeah,
happy with Travers. He's nailed on at the moment.
Let's go up to that back four then. It's been so solid, especially with that leadership and experience that Cahill's brought in. Now, Matt, Scott Parker's not going to say this, but surely he's got one eye on Sheffield United. Would you want to change anyone in that back four for this game?
Well, he's got a hell of a job on his hands, hasn't he, to keep all these players happy. And I'm glad he's the manager and not me, because that's what he's being paid for, isn't it, at the end of the day? But the options that he's got now are phenomenal. I just think I'm a bit old school. I mean, when we won the division last time, we had a settled back four and a settled goalkeeper. And I think that's the key to any successful team. You need that. So at the moment, I mean, people are talking about, Gary Cahill, can he play 2 games a week? He can, because he's got it up there. He does the easy stuff. If you watch him on the football field, he doesn't move about a lot. He reads the game so well. He doesn't have to, but he's commanding. And I wouldn't disrupt that at the moment. So there's not much that I would change, to be honest, in terms of goalkeeper and back four at the moment, even with Sheffield United in mind.
We're not quite sitting on the fence yet, but I'm going to go with that. So we're going to keep the back four as it is. Let's move up then to the midfield three. We'll talk about whether it's a pivot or a two pivot in a minute. But that middle three, are you wanting to change any of those players for this game?
Well, potentially. I think this is where the games are won and lost in midfield, aren't they, as we know. But I just think he might be tempted, because I would be, to think with a better side than Peterborough. Can we really stamp our authority on this game and show our quality? Do I need two holding midfielders in this game? Because I seem to recall him saying after the game on Saturday that Lerma was struggling a little bit with a knock on his knee. We need him for Sheffield United without a shadow of a doubt. I think we need Pearson and Lerma for that one. So do you rest Lerma tomorrow? It's a bit of a conundrum. I'm edging towards yes. I don't know about you, Kirk.
Are you tucking Christie in then on that basis?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. No worries. I'll go with that. I'm happy to go with that. Let's go up to the front three then. And Jayden Anthony's been absolutely fantastic. And down that left-hand side, even in spells in the games where we've struggled in those first 10 minutes, I don't know about you, Matt, but that is the side that tries to take us 30 yards up the pitch with Jordan Zamora carrying the ball with pace and then Anthony linking up with him. So Solanke, he's staying for me. I can't see Solanke coming out. Anthony, Are you wanting to keep Anthony on the left? Yeah,
there's a part. I mean, he's been phenomenal. It's just that partnership, isn't it, with Zamora? I mean, it's been better than anybody could ever imagine from the first game, where we were thinking. And I've gone on record to say that again, Zamora was another one after 30 minutes against West Brom. I was thinking he's not ready, not defensively. He's struggling. He's been absolutely phenomenal, unbelievably so. And that link up and that partnership that he's got with Anthony, would you want to break that up at the moment? Probably not. So, for me, it's got to stay.
Okay, and we saw reports potentially at the weekend that the reason Brooks maybe didn't play is because he's not shown enough effort in training. Don't know how true that is. But does Brooks come in for this game? We've already seen Christian Brooks play in the same team this season already. Does Brooks come in, or does someone like Lowe get a chance?
Well, this for me is the position where it's really up for grabs. This is a bit of a... This is one. I mean, you've got Morgan Rogers. He's bringing Morgan Rogers off the bench at the moment, ahead of Brooks and ahead of Lowe. So does he go with Morgan Rogers if Christie's tucking in, or does he go with David Brooks, or does he go with Lowe? For this
who
game,
are you going for, Matt?
I'm going to go with Brooks. I'm going to go only because we know that he has got the quality and he's got to start showing it. He's had a kick up the backside. He's been dropped. So I'm hoping that we'll see a response from him, because we know what he can offer. We know his creativity. We know he's got goals in him as well. And I think against Peterborough, they've shipped a lot of goals. You know, that he'll get space to play as well and to create. So I think this could be tailor-made for David Brooks on Wednesday night.
And if we can score a couple of early goals, there is opportunity there for Scott Parker to bring those players off the bench just like he has done and use the squad. But that is our predicted lineup for this game versus Peterborough. Do you agree with it? Let us know in the comments. And if you don't agree with it, who would you put in that's different? I don't think we've played Peterborough for 10 years, Matt. I think it was back in 2011. It was a bit of a ding-dong. It was a 3-3 draw. 3-3. How's this one going to go, though, Matt?
Adam Smith. Do you remember Adam Smith played? I think he scored a goal, went through the keeper's legs to make it 3-3. Fletch scored. I think Fletch might have scored. I remember it was in our playoff season under Lee Bradbury, wasn't it? I think it was on telly.
Does Adam Smith score in this game? What's your score prediction for this game?
I don't think Adam Smith scores in this game, but Adam Smith's been good the last few games, so you keep him in, don't you? But our prediction, we're going to slip up. I mean, I was going to go on record and say this tonight. We are going to slip up. You know, we can't expect every game in the Championship to go swimmingly, and we've had a few scares in recent weeks. We are going to get turned over at some point. And as much as I wouldn't say I've got a bad feeling about this game, but it does worry me, because they're scrapping for their lives and they'll be bang up for this. We're there to be shot at, aren't we? So they're going to give it a right go. I just think that we're a better team. They're going to match us up, I think, but we've got the better players. Our quality just needs to shine through, and that will come through if we get our mentality right and the work rate is there and we match them for that. Then I'm going to go for 3-1.
The famous Cherries Red Army 3-1, that one is. I'm going to go for a 2-0. And I was looking for you to bring loads of confidence to the table, but this is the Championship. And I think I said to you in the bar that I hope it doesn't bite back. And at some point it probably will. But it's a great run we're on. So how are you watching this game then? The fans currently checking this video out, really appreciate it. I think there's the Sky Sports red button opportunity. Remember, no replays, so don't go and grab a coffee during the game. AFCB TV Live, you can pay £10 and you do get replays with that. But we're also doing a watch along for this game on YouTube only. And if you are watching the game, still stick the watch along on. Let us know your thoughts in the chat. Join us, have a bit of fun for a few hours. Matt, how are you watching the game?
So I'll do red button, but I think I'll get the watch along on, Kirk, if you're doing that. Why not? Why not?
Absolutely. Music to my ears. It's been great to have you on, Matt. I hope to have you on in the future as well, seeing you at more games as well. Absolutely. And thank you. Thanks, mate, for joining us.
Been a pleasure. Yeah, thanks for having me, Kirk. Been a real pleasure, and anytime, happy to come on. Really enjoy it. Loving it.
Take care of yourself and enjoy the game Wednesday. Thank you to the Cherries Red Army followers who have checked this video out. If you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe, hit notification bells. Make sure you smash the like as well. From me and Matt on this video, we'll see you on the next one. Up the cherries.
Up the cherries.